Yeah, you followed his career as well. You know, he's been playing a lot of doubles with his brother Misha, who, you know, that's been an important part of it as well. You know, that not only improves your net game, but it improves your return. So I think from that perspective, you know, he's done a lot of great things early on in his career that set him up for longevity.
How important is it for him to have his brother around, Misha Zverev? I know he's 10 years older, but you know, he was always a role model as well, and he has certainly pushed him to be a better player.
He has, and I think Sasha's helped Misha as well on the same side. You know, he went through a few sort of difficult moments, Misha himself, and Sasha's got himself out there, and he's showed him the love of the game, and you know, they're great supporters of each other. They have the opportunity to travel together, which is great for the family as well. I met them for the first time down in Australia this year. You know, what a beautiful family they are. The mum's not here this week, but you know, they're so together, they're so down to earth, and I think just the fact that they can be such a great sort of working nucleus on a tour that at times can be somewhat dysfunctional for a young Zverev who's been around this kind of environment for so long, and you know, and now, you know, mixing it with legends as well. It's just simply, you know, this is a great event that caps off just a wonderful year for Sasha.
Fair to say that there's one particular match we're looking forward to the most.
Absolutely. Rafa and Roger, they're going to hit the court tonight, and we are very excited.
Please welcome Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal.
If this doesn't get the adrenaline coursing through your veins as a tennis fan, I'm sure not much will. How about that? I mean, the guy's good enough as it is already, Todd. Doesn't need Lady Luck as well, does he? Oh, yes, it's a line-licking forehand. Oh, that is absolutely mainline from Sock. That forehand's left a vapor trail. A match tiebreaker to decide the doubles. Too big, too strong, too fast, and simply too good in the end.
1-6, 10-5. The energy here on court, I think both of us appreciate. Unbelievable. The support has been a unique moment for us.
Everyone, Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal.
And that all happened yesterday, and when the two of them have teamed up for the very first time in the history of tennis. And what an impact Roger Federer and Rafa Nadal's doubles had all around the world.
Well, the importance, I think, in life of art and something special is to find its uniqueness, and we had that last night, didn't we, with Roger and Rafa coming out here. You know, all eyes of the world, and in fact, not even people that follow tennis were just delighted to see the two of them on the same side of the net out there, Barbara. It was a special evening.
And they were so involved in the Laver Cup as well, the build-up of the Laver Cup as well. It was truly a success.
It was truly a success. Obviously, we were actually all thinking that perhaps it was going to be Sunday that they were going to come out and play, but obviously they knew a little bit better. They're trying to win this, but it has been a fabulous week here in Prague, and I know that Sam Smith has actually caught up with somebody, Roger Federer's agent, Tony Godsick, who's also president of Team 8, who've been instrumental in putting the Laver Cup on, and no one better knows the thoughts of Roger Federer and how he feels about this week here in Prague.
Well, I told him before the tournament started, I'm not your agent this weekend. I'm actually going to help try to run this event and leave you alone with your team. But I did see him last night, and he's really happy. I mean, he's having a great time. I think him playing doubles with Rafa last night, I mean, we don't want to make too much of it, but it was a special moment for him as well. And I think they both, being rivals, to be on the same side of the court, and then getting to know Sasha and his other teammates, and he's really happy. I don't think he thought it was going to be like this in the first year. So he's ecstatic, as we all are.
Well, it's not just about the first year, is it? It's about the second year and the third year. And, of course, the venue alternates between Europe and other parts of the world. Can you tell us what's going to happen next year?
So yeah, we when the USTA became partners with us last year, we told them that the second one would be in the United States, and so we had 5 cities that were interested in. We visited all of them; they were great. We narrowed it down to 2, and today we're really happy to announce that Chicago is going to be the host city for 2018 for the second Laver Cup. It's a great city, 3rd biggest city in the United States. rich tennis tradition. They haven't had big tennis tournament there in over 20 years, so we're really excited to go to the United Center. The Mayor Rahm Emanuel has been great, and we're really, really excited. It should be fantastic.
And is it going to be bigger than the O2 in terms of its capacity?
Well, yeah, I mean, they actually can seat 23,000 people there, so it's a bigger arena, and hopefully sort of the energy we got here in Prague, we'll be able to carry it over and bring the Laver Cup to a really exciting, I mean, they're a sports crazy city, so hopefully it'll be amazing.
And at the same time in the calendar as well, 2 weeks after the US Open, is that a lock-in as well?
That's a lock-in. That's the dates. We're in with the building, we're looking forward to it, and we're really excited to go to the Midwest of the United States.
Tony, thanks very much. I know you've got a lot of work to do.
Sam, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
So if anybody was ever worried, the Laver Cup continues next year. The destination is going to be Chicago. What are you expecting from that when it's held in America?
Well, it sounds like it's going to be American. Bigger, better, probably a little brasher. And obviously some great connections that Roger has over there. You know, we've got Anna Wintour obviously here. He obviously played an exhibition this year that Bill Gates got involved in Seattle. He's obviously loves his tennis now. We see Justin Timberlake. There's some big stars over in America that'll be quite keen, I'm sure, to get involved in this now they've seen what's happened here in Prague.
And it's so nice to have witnessed, you know, how Roger Federer got so involved in that team spirit as well. And I think it was a lot of team bonding happening as well in Team Europe, but also in Team World.
Very much so. Yeah, I think the fact is that Team Europe a lot of the time a little bit more refined. They are a little bit older. We've got to give them their due. Where obviously it's a lot younger in Team World. But I do think the aspect of Team World will actually translate very well to an American sort of public. So I think from that perspective, you know, what they've carried on doing at the side of the court has been great for the concept of the tournament long term.
Mark, the players are also getting ready to step out on the court. Rafa Nadal and John Isner, it's time for them.
Dear guests, dear tennis fans, get ready. It's time for match 11 of the Laver Cup. Let's get ready to welcome back to the O2 Arena Prague, Team World and Team Europe. And after the legendary captains, please welcome the players. He holds the record for the 4 most aces in ATP history and still counting. In Team World, from the USA, John ISNER. And here's a player that will battle for Team Europe. He is the world #1 this year's US Open and French Open champion, yours, Rafael Nadal!
Interesting to see how different the two of them walk out on this arena. John Isner, very slow and very quiet, and then we have Rafa Nadal, who's jumping up and down. He likes to move around, he likes to stay warm for this upcoming match.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's been his tradition, but obviously that also is part of the whole psyche of Rafa. He comes out here, you know you've got to play every single point at the maximum intensity, otherwise you're not going to live with him. And that maximum intensity may come in the first game that he needs to try and break John, or it may come in the breakers that we've seen in their past meetings, but he's always just had the slight edge. He's 6-0. It must have been a big decision, I would have imagined, for Team World today to decide who to put up against Rafa. Obviously Nick with a slight head-to-head 2-1 over Rafa. Would it have been better to put him in with a more of a chance, you feel, given the head-to-head, to sneak the 3 points, to keep this tie going? Because it does feel very much an advantage Team Europe with this head-to-head.
How do you think John Isner feels now? I mean, he played 2 hours of doubles as well. Do you think that's going to affect him a little bit?
But I think it's a great question. You know, he's such a big guy, you know, that it's not always easy to come out and play a couple of matches in a day. And, you know, he sparingly plays doubles as well. I'm sure for that is that reason. I mean, I know it's just doubles, but it's actually a fairly gritty court. It's not an easy court. Doubles with a lot of short, sharp movements. I'm sure he'll be fine, but clearly when you take on this man, you're going to do a fair bit of running when he's serving, even if your games are short.
Rafa Nadal has taken his time, but now he's there with the coin toss.
Gold medalists. We'll make some photos first, please. So Lucas, you come here and face this way, John, please. And also to the other side. Okay, thank you very much. Lucas is going to do the coin toss for us. So Johnny, if you'd like to call. Heads. There you go. And that one's tails. Sir. Thanks very much. Very easy, huh?
So Mark, you mentioned it, the two of them have played 6 times against each other, but it was always Rafa Nadal who won each encounter. But they were tight. I mean, John ISNER, you know, with his serves, you have to break him first.
Absolutely. I think the dimensions of this court is something else, Barbara, that's quite important coming into this match. It's vast. It's huge. He can go as deep as he likes to return this serve. He's as strong out of the backhand corner on the juice side to get the ball deep as he is obviously on the outside if John likes to go wide, which he does on a lot of the big points. So I think from that perspective as well, the court should help Rafa.
What impression did you have from Rafa Nadal's match yesterday against Jack Sock? It was a tight one. It was a match tiebreaker in the third set. He just made it through. Did you like his performance?
Well, he played great sort of set and 2-1. Maybe just didn't feel as though he played quite as well that game there at set and 3-1. You know, he's going to waltz home to victory. But to take a look at his profile, pretty much everybody in the world knows where this man comes from. Manacor. He's an island boy. He loves his fishing. He likes cooling down over there. ATP ranked #1, plays left-handed, of course, is naturally a right-hander and naturally just simply the best in the world this year.
So what do you think is going to happen out there today? What's the tactics going to be for Rafa Nadal in this match?
The biggest thing is to get balls back in court. You know, the unreturned stat in a match like this is so crucial for Nadal just to chisel away at getting balls back in the court and getting this guy to have to play at least 3-4 shots in a rally.
But this man, he has to be aggressive. Of course, with his serve, he always does that, but then just go for it and maybe come to net a little bit more. Now, that's the biography of John ISNER. He's 17 in the world, 32 years of age, and over 2 meters. Okay, it's now time to go down and hear from John McEnroe. Robbie Koenig is with him.
John, very important match this one. Of course, you had the choice of the lineup. Did it ever cross your mind that perhaps somebody like Nick Kyrgios with a good record against Nadal, beat him recently on a hard court, would have been the choice over John?
Oh, it crossed my mind to play Nick against all 3 of them, you know, because he's a big match player. He likes playing the top guys, so it was tempting, but we tried it. You know, we went with what we thought was best for the situation, and so far it didn't work out. I mean, Sasha played great, and we need to bring everything we got now.
If there's one piece of advice that you've given John for this match, what is it, John?
Don't miss any returns. No, I'm kidding. You know, he's got to hang on to his serve and just feel that he's got to put some pressure on this guy, which is easier said than done, because you can see he's coming out with a lot of energy. And, you know, John's played a lot of tennis the last 24 hours, but he's got a hell of a serve, and so hopefully we can pull out a couple tie breaks.
I hope so as well. Let's hope it goes the distance.
That sounds good to me.
And it's now time to join the live action. This could be the last match of the Laver Cup. Let's join our commentators, Sam Smith and Todd Woodbridge.
It could well be the very last match of the inaugural Laver Cup, but if the last couple of days have taught you anything, well, it is an anything can happen, and it's very, very likely to be tight out here. Rafael Nadal, though, it would be fitting if he was to win the Laver Cup for the very first time for his team. It's like the last putt in the Laver Cup, in the Ryder Cup, isn't it? Because he has brought so much passion and energy to this whole event.
Well, both he and Roger have, and we've talked a lot about Roger, and I think that point you make about he being the potential one to take it for Europe is a nice task. I mean, he's the #1 player in the world. He'll have played 3 matches, the most of anybody on the European team, and he'll have deserved it. So for Rafa here, though, a heavy favourite for me, Sam, coming into this match. Particularly, I think think he's been in good form. He did lose the doubles with Thomas Berdych, but I thought he played okay. And then he wins the singles and the doubles yesterday.
Can't ignore the head-to-head, though, can you? In terms of, you know, ISNER has never beaten him, but they had some very tight matches, so and I'm just wondering if this format might just help ISNER and could tip the balance.
Well, there's one really big issue for him today, is that he's had one of the longest warm-ups that he's ever had coming into a singles match, and then you've got to play the most physical of any #1 in history, and the warm-up, of course, being the doubles to keep Team World into it to start the day.
There were so many discussions, weren't there, about getting this format right, how important that was, and trying to leave everything live until day 3, not a dead rubber situation or a dead match situation. That's been avoided. Clever points tally, but also so many decisions that, you know, the captains out there aren't just there for a bit of nominal advice. It's so tactical. You know, when do you want to be first pick? How you set your teams up? Who you play? How much do you play them? Absolutely fascinating. What have you? I mean, if this is going to be the last match, what will your overall impression be of this very first Laver Cup?
Well, I think it's how visually it's looked, what access we've had to players, how it looks on our screens. We've not seen tennis done like this before. You then talked about the format. I think the format has been so cleverly thought out. When you look at it and you create today, you said it, when it was, what, 6-2 in match wins at one point, and now we've got this opportunity to still have Team World in it. I love that. I don't think we really thought we could get to this point.
Time is very important in the Laver Cup. Matches are scheduled 10 minutes to finish, to come back on court after the last one is finished. It's a pretty tight knock-up.
Yeah, but that's what
players have to get on with it.
We tried to create that here too, because we waste too much time in our sport. The warm-up's been reduced by 2 minutes to 3. We've still got Rafa though, and he has a lot of routines that he lives by.
Exactly, he's the last one out. Okay, it's 12 points to Team Europe, 6 to Team USA. 3 points on the line here. Team Europe and Rafael Nadal just need the one.
First set, Rafael Nadal, Europe to serve. Ready? Play. For Europe, challenging the goal on the near sideline, the ball's called in.
And it is 1 millimeter in. That's all you need.
Love 15, Europe have 2 challenges remaining.
Just a reminder of how much these two men have played over these 3 days. John Isner came out against Dominic Thiem, ended up losing in a match tiebreaker. That was on the opening day on Friday. Nadal lost his doubles with Thomas Berdych against Kyrgios and Sok. That was also on a match tiebreaker. This is a good start for Isner. He's come out with his wings open.
As you said, he's warmed up. He's hit a lot of balls.
15-2.
Earlier today, that ball just dropped too short and dispatched beautifully off the forehand.
But that doesn't look good, does it?
No.
For Team World, it will be a major upset if he were to win today. 6 wins in their career head-to-head for Nadal, none for Isner. Nadal on great form yesterday, beating Jacks off in a wonderful match, again in a match breaker. And ISNER having a bit of a day off.
Touches the line again. Well, we're going to see a lot of this from Nadal. He's going to try and spread the court, and starts here on the second serve, cuts around the outside. See how it drags ISNER outside of the baseline, and there's so much room for him to hit the open court with that forehand. We'll see a lot of replays of that particular point of the field. One thing is important against a big server like ISNER, Sam, you cannot afford to go down a break early, because that win predictor in terms of the set really changes, because ISNER does not lose a lot of his service games.
Nadal playing his 4th match of the Laver Cup.
Deuce. Advantage Europe.
Yes. Well, already in this first game, we're seeing exactly what John ISNER is going to have to do if he's going to win this match. It's big hitting. The question you ask, though, is he going to be able to keep it up for the length of time needed?
And you can only imagine, with their backs against the wall, John McEnroe is going to want his team to come out punching, isn't he? Leave nothing out there. Very long opening game. Second chance for ISNER to get the early break for Team World. What a start for ISNER. And just maybe playing that doubles at the start of day 3 might have just warmed him up. Now, a feature of his match against Dominic Thiem was just the amount of aces he served. This is something that I'm sure Nadal would have looked at. He served 16 aces just in the opening set, Todd, and there is a very definite pattern to where he hits them.
Well, it's a Thiem who's going into the forehand, wasn't he? Out wide on the first court, down the tee on the second.
Of course, Rafa, a left-hander. It'll be interesting if he switches the play. But when you've got your favourite serve, you've got your favourite serve.
Well, and when you serve it from the height that he does, it's it's easy anyway.
John ISNER, world to serve.
What really stood out in the graphic is the accuracy. A lot of the aces are just on top of each other. I don't mind the serve pattern, as you mentioned, being the lefty, because for Nadal, he's just going to have to chip a lot of returns. So that gives ISNER that next ball that he can really tee up on, and that's important. That's what he needs to do. He's already used the forehand well in that opening game.
13 up.
ISNER currently ranked at 17 in the world. 5 years ago, he was in the top 10. Number 9, couldn't hold it, but has put together a really fine career. He really struggled though, didn't he, in the first half of 2017. I mean, didn't really win back-to-back matches until making the semi-finals in Rome, and then he went on quite a tear in the American summer.
Well, I think he's a momentum player, and I think for him a big thing comes about how his body is feeling. 6'10". For him, knees, hips, shoulders, elbows, all the joints become key points for him.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? As you get, well, you played into your 30s, Todd. As you get as to become an older player, health and protecting your body becomes a major factor in your decision making.
Recovery. You can play well one day or one big match, but you've got to come back out and do it 2, 3, 4 times in a row if you're going to have a good week. And for his style of body, that's difficult. Not enough on the approach shot. It landed a bit short. It also sat up. It gave Nadal time to get in behind it. And he has the accuracy off the backhand pass.
30-40.
You see here, he goes for the top spin approach. He doesn't quite get it out of the center of the racket. I think the other thing that we talk about, the physical part to ISNER, I think there will be, if we went back and looked at his match stats, one thing that's essential for him is to return well. He's got to get the ball back into court. And when he's struggling with the return, that's when he struggles to win matches.
It's very interesting. I was courtside during his doubles with Jack Sock, and John McEnroe was really having, almost giving him a coaching lesson on the backhand return, particularly from that right court, from the deuce court where he plays, because he tends to sort of stab at it, doesn't he? And John was getting him more to stand in and get his hands through the ball. Well, ISNER has come out on a fire for Team World, backs up the break and gives the guys on the bench something to get animated about, and they don't need a lot of encouragement. Thought it was quite interesting in between the matches. Rafa Nadal was getting ready, obviously, for this match, and there's a corridor behind these courts where the locker rooms are and everything, and he was just wandering around in just his tracksuit bottoms.
Oh, you were having a ball then.
Well, I have to say, there were. I think he raised a heartbeat to a few young ladies along that corridor. Completely oblivious he was to it.
15 up.
We don't get many chances to get the break back, so for Rafa, opportunity missed in that previous game, and he'll want to get a quick service game under his belt here and try to get on the scoreboard. Gee, he's found the forehand well, hasn't he? Not much of a second serve.
15.
Only 142 K, so light on pace, and it gave Gives no time to get around and get plenty of room.
This court is sprayed onto boards. How much is that going to affect the Nadal second serve in terms of it getting up and getting some work on it?
Well, it affects it a lot if you get tentative, because the ball just props up and says, hit me. He has to make sure he keeps going out after his second serve. But the problem is when you play a big server like John Isner, you're always under more pressure on your own service game because he wins his game so quickly. You feel like, okay, I can't make a mistake, so you become a little conservative. See there, much better second serve. He knew he had to get out after it. That one, almost 30 k's faster.
40-50.
So what you're saying is if you're not aggressive behind your second serve, this court surface, it's been pretty slow, it's quite dead in places, it can really hurt you.
Europe.
Just what Rafa needed, but it's Team World with the early break. Isner leading 2-1 first set.
It's always a nightmare when you're a player that doesn't rely totally on your serve to win your service games. Rafa has a good serve, but he uses his forehand physicality. And then you come out against someone and you feel like you barely get a chance. You know, you maybe get 1 or 2 returns into play in 2 service games. So it's just the hardest thing to come around. You lose that first point and then automatically the shoulders stiffen up and you go, woof, can I hang in here? Done so well with the branding here. You can even see the umpire's chair shaped like the Laver Cup trophy, as well as the ends of the player benches. Has just no detail has been left unturned at the Laver Cup.
Well, what an exciting final day of the inaugural Laver Cup. Match 11 between Rafael Nadal, the world #1, and John Isner, who's been one of the best Americans for a very long time. Ex-college player, attended the University of Georgia, broke all sorts of records and stats. Finalist in their college competition, took Georgia to the team title as well, and has transferred into a really stellar professional career. And this might want to be one of, this probably feels a little like a supered up college tennis match. He loves the team environment.
It's just Rod Laver coming into the stadium now.
15 left.
So John Blom, the chair umpire, saying, take your seats, please. And then he saw who it was, so he backed off just a little. And there he is. He's in his seat. And applause in the stadium for the legend. Interesting there, so Rafa guessing on the return. He went early to cover the tee. Great change up from Isner.
Well, that's fascinating. That's why it was so important to show the ace direction first up, because Rafa would have seen those that data, and a great play from Isner as well to switch up.
49.
Love from Isner. He's looking good in this opening set. Jason is with Jack Sock.
You've had a fantastic weekend so far. Give us a little bit of insight as to what it's like to face Nadal on this particular court.
I mean, the event's been incredible, you know, all weekend. Fans have been outstanding. The court is a little slower than we thought probably coming this weekend, so I like slow. Obviously, he likes slow, you know, being the king of clay, but yeah, you know, it was a great atmosphere out there yesterday. Had my chances, you know, it was right there, 1 point away, 2 points away. Guessing the guys are behind me right now. But yeah, it was a blast, and I wish I could have won, but it was fun.
What do you think John needs to do here?
What he's doing right now, keep it up.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, thanks.
A bit of a short, brash answer there, but he's actually right. I mean, this is the perfect start from ISNER. He served big, he's got up, used his forehand, he hasn't let Rafa manoeuvre him around the court. If he can keep that up, we may have a surprise victory from ISNER. There's that forehand again. And see, Rafa's just not, at this point, pushing ISNER far enough from corner to corner. And dropping it short. That one on the service line again. Slightly mishit.
Third, 15.
Psychologically, though, for ISNER, it's a different deal out there, isn't it? He hasn't got to win 2 sets against Nadal. He's got to win 1 set and a match tiebreaker.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it that way, but yes. It's like getting a ticket into a raffle, and then you've got a chance, haven't you?
It's a sprint for him.
Four, 2-30.
Nadal certainly warming to the challenge out here, but it's still Team World up a break early on in this opening set. Nadal has already spoken a lot this weekend about how much he enjoys the calming presence of Bjorn Borg on his bench, which I think really helps temper his intensity. I'm just sitting watching this player bench. So there's 16 French Open titles sitting there. It's just extraordinary.
Well, the stat that stood out for me was listening that, Bjorn Borg, he quit playing majors at the age of 25. What could have been if he'd have stayed in that a little bit longer?
Time.
Yes, he couldn't have imagined, could he, was playing until 31 years of age, and where Rafa is now, and he could play for, if he can stay fit, keep those knees nice and healthy, he could play for many, many more years. We're so lucky. ISNER off to a great start for Team World.
Well, this is why the scoreline is what it is at the moment, because the ISNER forehand has been big. And look at the difference in the average speed off of the racket, 134 to 107. But I wonder whether, like on the second serve,
30.
I was waiting for the umpire to give me the score. On the second serve where he's had to pick up a bit of speed, maybe Rafa needs to start hitting the forehand a little harder. He's got a lot more in there than he hasn't used yet.
ISNER knows he's got to leave everything out here. It's 12 points for Europe, 6 for Team World. 3 points on the line here. And it is first to 13 points. Team Europe just need this win, one more win.
Game World.
That might be hard to come by as ISNER extends his lead. Todd, just having a little closer look at their head-to-head. It is 6 wins for Rafa to 0. But, you know, 4 of those matches have actually been on clay. They haven't played for a couple of years. And ISNER has won sets against Nadal. He just hasn't been able to win 2 sets.
Well, he took him to 5 in the opening round of Roland Garros in 2011.
Where he did win 2 sets. A lot of tiebreakers in there. It has been very competitive every time they've played. I'm just looking here. A total of, what, 4 sets in 6 meetings. ISNER has won.
$59.
Whoa, one after that.
40.
Nadal now really starting to roll for Team Europe after being broken in his opening service game of the match, but it's still Team World ahead with a break.
World
in this first set.
First set.
Just a look from Rafa to vice-captain Thomas Anquist, who's making his way out onto court and trying to listen in.
Well, in front of you on the race page, so who is here to cheer for Rafa Nadal? In case you want to through, you can get this cap. This cap is really special because it's also signed by Rafa Nadal. And
look at John McEnroe. I think he's aged a little over this week. I think he's found a lot of attention. The competitive spirit has really come out in him. And, you know, there's a couple of times I've seen him with an inverted smile.
We can get the same cap in the shop. The message all around us. Enjoy the best tennis possible. Only at Laver Cup.
Young lad in the stadium has just been presented with a Laver Cup hat signed by Rafa Nadal. I think the young man was really rather stunned, actually. I think that might have just made his year. Everything on the line here for Team World. New balls.
It's going to make it even harder for Nadal to get the break back.
Well, I make that 6 aces already in the opening half an hour for John ISNER. I forget he served 16 against Dominic Thiem on Friday. And
constantly switching up the service direction of where he lands those aces.
Might have been a bit of brilliant tactics from McEnroe here to put ISNER up against Nadal. Originally when I saw it, I thought, oh, that's not so good. But when you think about the matchups that Nadal struggles with, it's the players that have that big first strike. So a big serve and a big forehand and takes time and away from him.
Yeah, McEnroe with the chance to respond. He knew last night what Team Europe had. They'd already shown their cards.
40-15.
And still a lot of pressure on here for Rafael Nadal. 3 points for this match. If he can't win, then it will be Federer against Kyrgios for match 12, where Team World have a chance to level the tie.
Game. World.
Very, very smooth. And ISNER doing a great job for Team World. Now, speaking of Nick Kyrgios, he's been up and down that corridor. There he is with his best mate, Thanasi Kokkinakis, who is the reserve here, the hitter here, coming back from injury. Yeah, but we could very much have Kyrgios against Federer. And then if he wins that, the tie will be level and we'll go into a one-set doubles with a regulation tiebreak at the end to decide who'll lift the Laver Cup.
Well, interesting that Kyrgios was heading back because yesterday he came out in his match and he was basically not warmed up. He looked stiff. He was cold. He'd been on the bench for a long time, so he was energised, but physically he'd done no warm up. And McEnroe sort of said to him, oh, "How can you come out here and not be ready to go from the first ball?" He'll need to be ready to go if he has to play Federer.
39.
Federer's warming up. Not quite sure where he is, but he will be ready for Kyrgios. Not taking anything for granted, Team Europe.
This is the retro ball.
Oh, fabulous return from ISNER. And just look at the expression on Nadal's face. I'm not sure even he expected this. How long ISNER can remain hot like this, red hot like his strings, we don't know. Big hold for Nadal. He gets it in the end, but it's ISNER who will serve for this opening set for Team World.
World lead by 5-4.
It's been another extraordinary year for Rafael Nadal. 5 titles for the world number 1. Really kicked off for him so well, isn't it? Down under, where he made the final of the Australian Open, lost to Roger Federer in one of the most memorable contests of their 37-match rivalry. But his year really kicked off in Monte Carlo, where he won there for the umpteenth time, then in Barcelona, where he beat Dominic Thiem in the final, then to Madrid, to the indoor hard courts of the Spanish capital. Djokovic and Thiem defeated. He was a little exhausted in Rome, where he was beaten by the young Austrian in straight sets, but then Ledesma took his 10th French Open title in Paris, where he did not drop a set. Quite extraordinary. ISNER serving for this opening set.
Love 15.
That's a typical Nadal point. It's a second serve, but it was still a big serve, and it was Nadal refusing to miss. Stay down low, just chip the ball back into play. Draws an error. So one of Nadal's issues on return of serve is that he feels he needs to go further back to be able to get himself into play. But sometimes against the big servers, it just gives them more space, more corner, more angle. Yes. See where he was on that point there. At least he can get a stab at the ball, block it, get it into play. And a lovely little deft chip when he didn't have a lot of room or angle. Now see if he does the same thing here and stays up in the court.
Let's proceed.
Yes, and he did. I don't think he wanted to be allowed to, because he got a good piece of it, got it back into play. It was a good return. Incredible, isn't it, how you can hold serve so easily, and then when that moment comes where it's close to finishing it off, the tension comes.
Nadal, doesn't matter that he's the world number 1, he's happy to chisel out a couple of ugly-looking returns. Had a couple of break points in his opening service game. He's got 2 more here to level this first set.
(30-40).
Got him.
Europe.
And Rafael Nadal revving up these O2 fans.
His shoulders droop. That's why he's a champion. It's just a refusal to give up a point, even when it would seem you've got no chance. This was a clever little shot, but then the angle was wide open for down the line, but ISNER pushes it wide.
It's got him.
Again, tentative off the forehand, just pulling up out of it, not letting the racket head go through. An interesting stat, we saw the speed of forehand before. Rafa, he normally hits his forehand on average at 123 kilometres per hour. And he's had it at 105, 107 throughout this match.
That's way down. A couple of breaks already in this opening set, and just when you think the world #1 is stabilising, he goes a little off kilter and opens the door once again for Team World. Most uncharacteristic. Very strange game from Nadal, and once again it's advantage Team World, and John ISNER will have another chance to serve for this opening set.
My coach told me, you get those short balls, you don't need to run through it. Just, even if it's that split second, hit your shot, volleying well, man, okay? Here we go. It's a hell of an effort there.
Todd, who did used to coach John Laver?
I was going to say he might go back. Just be ready.
I'm not 100% sure. I know he had a bit to do in his early years with Harry Hoffman, but I'm sure there were others that were there and about throughout his career.
Never seemed to have a permanent coach with them, They didn't in those days. It's incredible what these young guys can learn from one of the greats.
Time.
Both Nick Kyrgios and Roger Federer warming up, because this Laver Cup, it's not done and dusted, still all on the line. Kyrgios against Federer next, if ISNER can take out Nadal. Team World serving for this opening set once again.
Better start this time.
15 love.
I don't think I've ever seen a sequence of missed forehands like this from Rafa before. That's just basically 4 unforced errors off that wing in a row.
First.
Nadal looks shell-shocked, and ISNER responding so well to being broken in this last service game, rewarded here with 3 set points. Team World are up and running, and it's ISNER who takes the opening set by 7 games to 5.
Well, this could turn out to be a very special day in the career of John ISNER. Came out with their backs to the wall in the first match of the day. They win the doubles in a tight one. Maybe he should play more doubles before singles, because this is one of the best ball striking performances I've seen from him, particularly off that forehand.
What we're seeing out here, aren't we, is a perfect scenario for John ISNER. Everything's on the line, he has to go for it, and he, as a former college player, he thrives in this team atmosphere.
Yeah, and also I think the fact that you have played a match and you're swinging freely and you've...
That's the big ball, baby! That's the big ball!
You can actually take that out here. I think you come out cold a little bit against Nadal. You're not sure what you're going to expect after just a regular warm-up. I think that's played into his hands today. This was that clever little lob. And then we went all the forehand misses in a row from Rafa. Have a look at the reaction from John McEnroe as well.
Time.
Team World, they're energised by the first set performance of John ISNER.
Second set.
All down to Rafa Nadal to respond. Federer, Kyrgios warming up.
There's a battle going on in Rafa's mind right here now, because he's thinking about the forehand. He knows he's got to do something with it, but he's made errors, and his instinct is just to keep the ball in play. But if you're just going to spin it,
Out.
Get a challenge here. If you're just going to spin the ball and then spin it too much and drop it short, well, you're giving a free hit to John Isner. He's taking advantage of it.
Second challenge of the match for Isner. This time not getting it right. Relief for Nadal. At that point, he'd lost 8 of the last 9. A big momentum shift into that first set, excuse me, for the American.
You see, that's the play for Nadal. He has to try to get Isner moving into the extremities of the court.
To 15.
You would expect nothing less. A re-energized Rafa Nadal and a big hold for the Spaniard started this second set. But Todd, there's been all sorts of issues throughout there for Rafa, and this has been one of the major problems for him.
Yeah, we talked about the forehand and dropping the ball short. Look at that in that middle portion of the court. 51% of his balls are hitting in there, and that's where he's getting burnt off the big forehand of John Isner. So you can see there, the deeper the ball goes into that back green section, he wins 86% and only winning just over 50% when he drops it near or close to the service line.
Not too many balls are in the dark green section,
no,
are there?
Not at all.
And
he has to change that.
That's so unusual.
Europe is charging a call on the left near side. Ball's called.
And I think, I'll reiterate, I think some of that's come about today because you're playing such a big server and you at times feel you need to protect. You need to be cautious and you don't want to give too many free balls away.
59.
It has the opposite effect of not going near the line at all.
What has he got to do in the second set that he has got to bring from the first set in order to beat Nadal? He doesn't need to win another set, does he? He just needs to win a match tiebreaker.
I think we go back to Jack Sock's commentary. Don't change a thing. You still have to go within this, though, and you can't think, OK, let's just get to the breaker. You've got to get out and win it. Any sort of hesitation and he'll be done.
Third to 15.
Double the winners. You'd expect that, I guess, from Isner. A lot of those coming off serve with aces as well.
4 to 15.
We have to feel for Rafa in a way out here. He's very rarely getting a look at a second serve, much under 200 kilometers an hour.
Game.
Second ace in the game. And ISNER levels up in style. It will be very interesting to see what sort of platform this gives many of the players going into the very last section of the season, and to see if there's an upturn in their results. It might be, and also the incentive through the year of many players of making the Laver Cup team, if it has the same effect as it has on the golfers. That's something they're very aware of in terms of with their ranking points and where they sit, or even trying to be a captain's pick.
No. 15.
You mentioned the Ryder Cup. It was interesting when golf was put into the Olympic Games in Rio. A lot of the top players kept withdrawing at the last moment. Justin Rose, of course, went on to win. It's one of the greatest moments of his career, and he's got a US Open to his name as well. I think we may see a few players thinking, yes, I need to be at the next one. I mean, Andy, Novak, Nishikori, Raonic, they couldn't be here due to injury, but I think they'll be sitting back watching this saying,
wish I was there.
Exactly.
Yep. Marking it in their diaries for next year. It will be held in Chicago a couple of weeks at the United Center. 23,000 they can pack into there a couple of weeks after the US Open. Great spot in the calendar. And a perfectly placed serve from Rafael Nadal. 2-1, the Spaniard leads for Team Europe in the second set after having dropped the first.
Like a good bar, man. What is this?
It's good. They're tasty.
What's the name of it? You know?
RX Bar.
You gotta find those.
They're every Whole Foods. RX. It's no bullshit, you know. It just has that
The nutrition lesson there for John McEnroe. No such things as bars on court when he was playing. There's just a little bit of Robertson's lemon barley or something like that as they changed ends in the Wimbledon finals. They'd only just been given seats to sit down on around that period as well. For a long time there, until TV became prominent, there were no such things as TV changeovers. So the players had to just stand and towel down and grab a drink.
Great encouragement from Madrigal, the fellow Spaniard for Rafa, Fernando Verdasco, who's the alternate here. If there was any injuries, both teams have an extra man and an extra hitting partner. Rafa's broken John once in that opening set. That came in the 10th game as ISNER tried to surf it. What's he got to do, though, to get the break in the second?
Well, first and foremost, you just got to keep chipping as many balls back into play as you can. Oh, didn't take advantage of the good return, but ISNER reads the pass well. And, of course, with those long arms, he's got that extra coverage. This was a much better return from Rafa. But the fact is, I mean, at times when you play against ISNER, it's getting racket on ball and being able to control it. The angle that it comes down of is something you just don't see. See that one there? It comes from such a height. It's just hit straight down into the court. When it hits the court, the trajectory it bounces off is completely different to what around about 97% of the tour. Took a guess on that one, went early.
3-all.
Well, if we're talking numbers career-wise, he's won over 90% of his service games throughout what has been, what, a 10-year career.
Well, we saw that win predictability pop up there, which was heavily in Rafa's favour. But, you know, we know that that's now changed with a set under his belt. And, you know, if he can get to a tie-break, the predictability, it's hard to get that word out.
Understandably, he had less than a 20% chance of winning this match on the win predict. And that was because the head-to-head was so in the favour of Nadal. He's never won a match against Nadal.
I think that's at least gone towards 50-50 now. If not, maybe 60-40 in Isner's favour. Holds 4 more service games. Potentially into a shootout of tie-break in this set, and the match tie-break. Good odds. Talking about tie-breaks, they've played 5 times. The 5 tie-breaks in the matches that they've played out of those 6 occasions. Rafa's won 3, Isner's won 2.
When we talk about these stats, Rafa's odds reducing by the minute out here.
$40. Let's proceed. And Europe.
With another love service game, looking comfortable here, and we are still on serve in this second set.
Europe lead by 3-2. Second set.
Very different vibe coming over the stadium now. I think there was a real feel that Europe were going to wrap this up pretty quickly in the opening couple of matches. That hasn't happened, and then this one got tight. Next match, Federer, Kyrgios. We know Kyrgios has the ability to beat the big guns. That's been the one thing that has been consistent in his roller coaster of a career to this point. So, gee, this is starting to get a little edgy, much more edgy than I was expecting. Great visuals of the footwork of Rafael Nadal, the strength of the legs that have carried him to 2 Grand Slams in 2017.
Match 11, perfectly poised, very tight opening set with 3 breaks in it. No breaks so far in the second. Isner serving and having to play catch up to the world #1.
Ready for play.
Federer, Kyrgios warming up in case we need match 12. Just a reminder of the score. It's 12 points to Europe, 6 points to the rest of the world. Or Team World, as we should call them. Should know that by now, day 3. 3 points on the line here.
Served so well in that first set. 88% of first serves into play. It's going to be very hard to break when that happens. But what he's also done well when he has missed the first, his second is big, and he's mixed up the placement. He's very hard to read. Like that one.
40 love.
The bounce off the court, how quickly it rose is the difficulty.
Good.
The sublime serving as ISNER levels up. Well, you're always taught when you're younger that tennis matches are about solving problems, and there's a 6'10" one at the moment for Rafa to deal with here, and really all he can draw on is the amount of times he's got the better of the big American over their rivalry of 6 matches. How important that's going to be today in this different format, we don't know. Packed house here at the OT, 17,000 the capacity, quite extraordinary.
Good play, pressure play, make Rafa come up with the big shot. It was not a huge amount of pace on the return, but it was deep. It allowed him to get some good net position, but this forehand had a huge amount of spin. Dips just on net level. Makes it impossible to control the volley.
$30-15. $40-15. Ball stop, please.
That is a monster. And if you thought John ISNER was hitting it hard in the opening set, he was hitting his average forehand speed at 118 kilometers an hour. He's 10 kilometers an hour faster now. Rafa's has gone up as well from 111, but only to 113. So ISNER setting the pace here. Still competing so hard, and once again Nadal for Team Europe pushing ahead in this second set. We're still on serve.
Europe lead 4-3.
There is no doubt in this second set that both men picking up their serving, particularly Rafa Nadal. Todd Woodbridge always sets a lot of store by if you win the first point on your service games, and if I look back to the last 6 service games, both men have done that extremely well. Why is that? Why is that just so important to win that first point?
Well, it changes tension, and particularly when you're playing a big server. If you're the one that, like Rafa, that comes out, you lose that first point, then you start to steer a little bit. That's when the forehand starts to lose speed, the spin starts to drop. Listen in to Rafa so we get some insight.
Probably the most animated exchange between Rafael Nadal and Bjorn Borg at the change of ends. I was just thinking Borg had to face a few big servers. Roscoe Tanner in his era, he was a lefty.
last long. But the game changed enormously in terms of serve speed since McEnroe and Borg's day. I mean, Mark Philippoussis was the first player that came along and had what we thought was a humongous second serve. We'd just never seen anything like that on tour before. Sampras came with the massive first serve, which always felt like he'd get a hit on the second serve. And then I would say that today every player out on tour has an enormous serve by terms of, if we went back and looked at the stats of speed of what the average was. We don't have all those stats, I don't believe, but it would be good if we could.
40 love.
He dropped 2 points on serve this set, ISNER. We didn't have anybody 6'10" playing back then either.
No, they were all on the basketball court.
Good. World.
Well, love service game for John, isn't it? As he levels up and we inch towards that second set regulation tiebreak.
Love 15.
So here is where the pressure mounts. We just spoke about winning that first point. So
yeah.
ISNER has the chance to freewheel it. He can get out and have a crack for Rafa. He cannot miss. So he has to really take pace off and start to steer. So this is a big moment.
Europe is challenging call on the service line. The ball's called out.
A couple of incorrect challenges already for Rafa Nadal in this match. Oh, he was there.
Well, that was very clever from Rafa because there was no panic. That was a very difficult shot. Complete miss hit put into an awkward part of the court.
And when things have been so tight over the last 3 days, it's though you want to bookmark those kind of moments as a possible turning point out here. Wow! How about that? Huge point right here for Team World. I mean, his average forehand speed's been almost 130 kilometers an hour. He absolutely clocked that one.
Oh, smart serve. It's a good option against ISNER because he has such big wings. If you serve to corners, it's not as difficult for him as it is for others to reach. But with those long wings, you can tie him up.
That is stunning, inspirational play from John ISNER.
John McEnroe, Nick Kyrgios out on court a little early.
Can't help himself, can he?
No, he can't. But what a clever shot. ISNER is in trouble, so it was beautifully controlled backhand slice, kept it into a part of the court where Rafa had to try and volley up, and he catches the tape.
Yes. Manager.
Relentless RAFA. He's keeping Team Europe in this, and he pushes ahead once more. Still on serve in this second set.
So many things have been inspired choices about this whole event at Laver Cup. One of them, I think, has been the surface choice. I think this court has given us such great matches. It's a speed we've said is a little slow. But in actual fact, it's delivered perfectly for the event. It's a new colour. We haven't seen this colour on the tour before. Visually in the stadium, it's magnificent. Both captains now, you can just sense the intensity starting to rise.
Time.
Both captains so animated, particularly Captain Borg. Johnny Mack just prowling around John ISNER. He's playing every point himself. He'd love to be out here. ISNER's so close to breaking in that last game. Serving here to stay in the second set. Nadal eyeing up a match tiebreaker.
This is a clutch game for ISNER here, because having had a break point in the last game, got to make sure he keeps up. Pretty easy when you get a couple of 3 points per surface game like that.
Well, it's also pretty easy when you've got John McEnroe with all the sort of energy that he brings to the court and intensity. You've got Nick Kyrgios sort of over your shoulder, bouncing up and down. I mean, you can't fail to be pumped, can you, in this environment? He's playing a great match out here.
Typical Nadal, though. He still made him play 3 extra shots in that rally. He gets the return back, gets the big forehand back, still makes him play a drop volley.
Game World.
Team World pumping out the love service games, and once again, ISNER leveling up in the second set.
Yeah, 16 consecutive points on serve for ISNER.
15 love.
Drops it short. He had to come in. He asked the question of Rafa and he has the answer. Beautiful passing shot.
$30 love.
Three points have been few and far between in this match 11 for Rafael Nadal. Trying to get to 13 points for his team and lift the Laver Cup.
Clever. Change of pace, change of spin.
40 love.
Bringing ISNER forward though. That was the key.
Game Europe.
Nadal answering a love service game
Europe
with the one of his own.
6-5,
6-5, he leads on serve, second set.
That's one of the good things that we've seen throughout this competition, particularly also from Team Europe, is they're coming up and giving advice about what they see from the bench, remembering that all of these guys have good black books of notes.
Right back
all of
in
these guys.
Time.
John McEnroe sending John ISNER out with the words, right back in this thing. Well, they are. It might be 12 points to 6 to Europe out here. They just need one more win. They just need to get to 13. 3 points on the line. ISNER, by defeating Nadal, well, he can get Team World right back in this. And, of course, Federer Kyrgios will be up next if he can do so. And if we want to look a little further into the, I mean, goodness me, these fans, I mean, they could be exhausted if we get to match 13. That will be a decider if the points are at 12 all, and that will be a one-set doubles.
30 love. $40 love.
How many consecutive points is that now on serve for ISNER?
Well, if he could win this one, it would be 20.
Wow.
Good.
It is.
World. 6 games all, second set tiebreak. Both teams received one additional challenge.
Just one 7-point tiebreaker. That's what John ISNER needs to record his first ever victory over Rafael Nadal.
It's offense versus defense.
World.
The offense of John Isner winning through. He deserved to win it, but he had to play 3 or 4 extra volleys. Rafa refusing to let the ball get by. Eventually, though, it did. First mini break for John Isner.
This is a nightmare scenario for Rafael Nadal. He's the man you'd want out there in this situation.
Two, 0, world. Three, 0, world.
Well, for Nadal, he's back up against the wall. He's going to have to find something incredible. He's got to hope that John Isner realizes what he may be about to achieve.
Three, 1, world.
They started today with a 6-point cushion. They still got that, but it doesn't feel too much like it. Not with 3 points on the line in this match.
And not now with 2 mini breaks the way of John Isner.
4-1, world.
Hasn't he played an exceptional match from the opening game when he broke Nadal's serve? Two exceptional matches from Isner today.
Oops. Please. Thank you. Five, 1, world.
And unsurprisingly, Roger Federer, who's been watching this second set rather closely off court in the player locker room, he has gone to make his final preparations, and he knows pretty much that he's got to get ready for Nick Kyrgios, not the opponent he would want to face in this kind of the cauldron of this situation at the Laver Cup.
And if he really thought that he would be required.
You couldn't have scripted it any better. Just 2 points required now for Team World.
Six, 1, world.
Well, what a match he's played. Broke Rafa in the opening service, in his opening service game. He has ripped through this Laver Cup court. Team World have a lifeline.
7-5, 7-6.
for John Isner. What a performance in the doubles earlier, and now a first ever win over Rafael Nadal. And what a time to do it with his back against the wall. Score now reduced to a 3-point deficit.
A huge disappointment for Rafa as he leads. He wouldn't have been expecting that, but I tell you what, as he signs some autographs for fans, always elegant in victory or defeat. But that last point emphasised how well John Isner played and how he took it to Rafa from the very first point. He held nothing back. He came forward and an emphatic volley to finish it off and keep us together here with one.
Yeah, what an extraordinary performance. Let's hear from John. He's with Robbie.
No room to maneuver. You had to win. That tennis was off the charts good.
Yeah, I played extremely well. It's easy to play well in front of this crowd and against the #1 player in the world. I walked on the court. I had absolutely nothing to lose, and I just went for it, and it worked out. And our team is still alive, and we got our man for the job coming up next. So we're ready.
We certainly have, of course, Nick Kyrgios up against Roger next. But I just want to speak about your forehand today. Have you ever hit it better in the course of 2 sets, consistently big like that?
I actually don't think so. It's much easier said than done to go out there and swing as hard as you can, but I did that today, and a lot of those balls were finding the right spots. So good. It was a good win for me, but more importantly, it's a great win for our team. We're still alive. Roger Federer versus Nick Kyrgios. Let's get it going.
One last question. How was the energy off the bench from the boys?
Unbelievable. And we got to bring it again. So can't wait.
Thanks very much, John.
And who would have thought that John Isner was going to beat Rafa Nadal here at the Laver Cup for the very first time?
There's not too many people that thought that was coming, you know, given the way that Rafa's played over the weekend. But credit to John, he hit the ground running. One of the peculiar quirks of obviously today was that he got a doubles under his belt earlier, got a win, felt good, obviously got a feel for the court, and actually got the early break straight away. That might have been the most significant moment of that match, to be honest. It put Rafa on the back foot.
And look how excited Team World is out there. Obviously, they didn't expect as well to still be in this tie, and now it's all open.
Still very much open, as you say, obviously, now that they've closed to win 3 points. And obviously, Federer, if he does take care of Kyrgios, can win it for Team Europe. But massive, massive hitting from John today. He was 4 miles an hour on his first serve as we get confirmation of that scoreline.
And that's where it is, the leaderboard. 12 points for Team Europe and 9 points for Team World. They're slowly but surely catching up. Now, this next match coming up is very, very crucial for both teams.
It's absolutely huge for both teams. There's no doubt about that, and it's enticing, isn't it? Because there's no clear-cut favourite as we head into it. You know, I feel as though Kyrgios likes this kind of matchup. And as we can see, some of the shots of both Kyrgios and Federer throughout the weekend here. He's been a bit of the wild card, but he's been a winner, Kyrgios, so far.